I need to ask you about this thing that happened over the weekend involving Zion Williamson, because Duke did respond, and I think it's important that we let our audience know just how big a deal this is or isn't. Zion was named the Naismith Men's Player of the Year over the weekend, and then there is this controversy surrounding him. Duke is now looking into accusations made by attorney Michael Avenatti that Nike gave money to Zion's mother back when he was still a high school recruit. And as we were going through this in the meeting this morning, I think most people that are seeing this are just wondering, what should we make of these allegations? Is this a big deal? Avenatti obviously is a person of question. The source is questionable, to say the least. How big a deal should we be making of this?
Well, it is an important issue. How big of a deal we make of it, who knows? I mean, we got the biggest player in the game, and having an allegation like this, it is a big deal. But I think it's important to understand, and most people don't, that shoe companies have been paying AAU programs and providing money to AAU programs for years. And the NCAA and every school knows about it. They absolutely know about it. And so and this has been happening for years, you'd have parents involved with AAU programs. So as money's coming in to sponsor an AAU program, the shoe companies don't have complete control or authority over where that money goes, but they should know. And there was something kind of interesting over the Final Four week when Mark Emmert was interviewed. He was asked by an interviewer, do you plan on separating from shoe companies? And when I heard the question, I thought, well, that they're not going to do that. And Emmert said, no, of course not. We just want greater transparency and all that stuff. And I started really thinking about it, and then I go, wait a minute, why aren't these institutions and the NCAA separating from shoe companies? Why don't they buy their shoes like everybody else? Why are they treating the players as unpaid billboards for advertising for these companies for literally hundreds of millions of dollars over the system? And it's an interesting question. That's been a way, Greeny, that money has been funneled for a long time now. And it's seeing the light of day because of the FBI investigation.
All right, Jay Bilas, so well done on this and everything. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow, as again tonight, the national championship there in Minneapolis. I want to take this out to the table because both of you are connected in the ways that you are to college basketball. I'll ask you first, just your thought on what Jay just said, and in general, Zion, the biggest star we've seen in college basketball in a really long time, now having his name involved in something like this.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, you'd have to have your head in the sand to not realize that, as Jay mentioned, these AAU programs, they're all funded by these shoe companies. Let's go back. Marvin Bagley's dad started a club team just for Marvin Bagley. Nike funded it. We talked about this. We know this. This isn't a surprise. So this is a way to influence. There's no question it's a way of influence. Go back and look over the last 15 years in college basketball. Take the top 25 recruits. Go figure out who sponsored their AAU program. And I promise you, we're at a 90% success rate that the college that they attended was the same one, sponsored by the same program that was the shoe company that sponsored their AAU program. It's just the way that it's gone in the business. We're just peeling back the layers of the onion.
Is it a problem, though? I guess what I'm asking is what we're describing here a bad thing?
Sure. But, I mean, to the point
where... What is bad? But, I mean, I'm always looking when I'm...
But because you're influencing kids, you're influencing where maybe kids will go to school based on that.
But is that a bad thing? That's what I'm asking. Who's the victim here?
I don't think the parents are the victim. I don't think the players are the victim. I think the system is what's wrong. And if you think about money going to from shoe companies going to specific... Yeah, the lines are blurred because family members want to take care of their own players, their own kids. And then also, you connect the dots all the way up to the pros. It's funny, a lot of these college schools, I went to a Nike school, I signed Nike, and then I crossed over to Adidas. And I've had a personal stake in this because one of the guys that got hung up in the Adidas investigation was a guy that signed me to Adidas, a great guy. He was a champion for women's athletics, but he just understood that this is how it's been for so long. His name was Jim Gatto. And if you think about the big scheme of things, I'm not going to penalize the players because the players deserve money. They deserve to have their livelihoods bettered by getting this opportunity to play at the next level, whether it's in college or in the pros. But I do think the system is rigged. The system is rigged to the benefit, and exploitation of players, but why not?
Well, and here's the interesting thing that Jay just said about Mark Emmert going, are you going to, separate from the shoe companies and try to limit their sphere of influence here? No. Why? Because at the end of the day, it comes back to the same thing that it always comes back to. money.
And the point that I would like to make in this, and we have to move on to other matters, and I know that people sometimes get tired of hearing this conversation. What we have done is criminalized behavior there was no victim of, right? This is the FBI looking into things, but the only reason these are crimes is because they are a violation of NCAA rules. We're just talking about people getting paid to play basketball or to wear particular shoes. No one is harmed by this. The NCAA has decided it is against their rules, which makes it into fraud, which makes it into something that the FBI is interested in because it is a crime. But that is needless because it is victimless. We need to change that yesterday.